I think head coach is more important to winning now in today's NFL than quarterback is. Like if I had to start a team from scratch today, I think I'd rather have an elite offensive-minded head coach than an elite quarterback. Because I think the head coach can do more than the quarterback can. Here's what I mean by that. I think great coaching can overcome subpar quarterback play. But I think great quarterback play is taken down and can't overcome bad coaching. For example, look at the Chargers, look at the Bills. Now, Josh Allen's been a little shaky, but for the most part, he's been pretty good this year. Still one of the top quarterbacks. Both those teams, right now, outside of the playoff picture looking in, will have great quarterbacks, so that shouldn't be the case, right? Well, it is. Why? Bad coaching. Great quarterbacks can't overcome bad coaching. Look at the Colts. Look at the Browns. Look at the Vikings. All three of those teams have lost their quarterback for the season. Yet all three of those teams are right now holding playoff spots. Why is that? Because great head coaching, great offensive-minded head coaching can overcome subpar quarterback play from backup quarterbacks like Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco, P.J. Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, all spinning the carousel for the Browns, Joshua Dobbs for the Vikings. When you have a great offensive-minded head coach, you can overcome subpar or less talented quarterback play. But when you are a great quarterback and you have a bad head coach, you can't overcome that. That's why I think head coaches now are more important to winning than quarterback is. It's never really been the case, right? We always talk about the most important position in sports is quarterback. We obsess about it 24/7, 365. Anytime a team loses a game, it could be the first game of the year. What is it? Oh, let's tank. Let's go get ourselves Caleb Williams. Let's go get ourselves whoever, Bryce Young last year. Like the tank is on. Tank for Tua. Forget about just being week number one. Teams, or I should say fans, always look at quarterback first and foremost when it comes to thinking that's what we need to get right in order for us to get on the winning track. I would argue, look around the league. What gets you on the winning track faster and more sustainably is having a great head coach. Because like we just highlighted, Colts, Browns, Vikings, great offensive-minded head coach. Backup quarterbacks playing, still in the playoff picture. But even it's true, I think, at the elite level, the upper echelon of the NFL. Look at the Eagles, for example. They're 10-2, but we can all agree their offense this year does not look as dynamic and deadly as it did last year. And you have a lot of the same pieces offensively there last year and this year. The difference is a new coordinator. Hey, Nick Sirianni's still there, but he's not calling the plays. Was Shane Steichen last year. Now it's Brian Johnson this year. That change of coordinator has been a difference. Now, Jalen Hurts' health as well, but that coordinator change has impacted the offensive explosiveness of Philly, despite the fact that the talent remains the same. That shows you offensive coaching, good or bad, has a bigger impact than I think just the players on the field. Conversely, look at the 49ers. They just went into Philly, kicked the crap out of the Eagles with a quarterback that was taken in the last pick of the draft last year. Kyle Shanahan can win with whoever's at quarterback. It truly does not matter. But that only happens because he's a great offensive-minded head coach. I don't think if Brock Purdy's on any other team, he's having this high of level of success this quickly. I don't think anywhere else you look, he is winning all these games and right now being the front runner for the MVP in year number 2 of his career if he's on any other team in the league. So coaching does directly impact in a positive way. That is Brock Purdy. We're seeing right now a coaching change in a negative way impacting Philly. It happens at really all levels of the NFL. And even on the bottom too. Like we started this by talking about the Athletic article that I was reading today that highlighted Frank Reich's exit. I don't think Bryce Young is a bad quarterback. I know it's been ugly to start, but I don't think this is who he is. I don't think he's going to be a bust. I think he's still going to develop into being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But with that said, even a guy who I think is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL can't overcome bad coaching And it's dragged him down to the point where the Panthers have won one game, and Bryce Young is already looking like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Like, a detail really stuck out to me. And the Athletic article did a tremendous job reporting on Frank Reich's firing. They were detailing part of the reasons why David Tepper decided to fire Frank Reich. One of the reasons they cited was you had coaches and personnel members that were fearing for their job going behind Frank Reich's back to go right to Tepper himself to basically say, look, they ain't coaching fundamentals. Bryce Young's footwork is off. We need it fixed. And they're basically citing that Bryce Young was not consistently taking the proper depth in his dropbacks. Like if it's a 5-step drop, let's say, for example, he was only taking 4 steps or 4.5. And that those coaches were saying that 1 step or half step is a big reason why he's getting sacked more than he should, and maybe why more balls are getting batted down than they otherwise normally should when this play call is out, when the protection is what it is. And according to the Athletic article, like 2 weeks ago, Tepper went to Reich and went to Josh McCown, their quarterback coach, and said, hey, look, let's get Bryce's footwork better. So they started working on Bryce Young's footwork, despite it being a problem all year, 2 weeks ago. That's a problem. If you can't have coaching that identifies something that Bryce Young is doing wrong, that is impacting his play on the field directly, and you wait until week 10 to figure it out because you got a tip from your owner, who got a tip from another coach who, I don't know if it was afraid to tell Frank because he's going to say no. I doubt that. Frank Reich, by all accounts, is a very nice guy, so I don't think he's going to tell the guy to screw off. Maybe trying to impress the new owner and save his job by going to him and say, hey, look, David, this is what I saw. This is why you should trust me. Whatever it is, problems with Bryce Young's fundamentals were being ignored and or not recognized for like the first 10 games of the season. That's problematic. So again, you see the impact of coaching in a positive way. Colts, Browns, Vikings, 49ers. You have a great offensive mind. It does not matter who's at quarterback and who is healthy. You are in a position to win every single game. If you have a bad coach, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, you are being torn down. You are missing the playoffs. In the case of Bryce Young, you're not getting developed in the way you should be getting developed. And that's why I think it all adds up to, at this point, I think head coach is overtaken, in terms of importance to winning, overtaken the quarterback position. We always talk about it. Quarterback is the biggest and most important position in all sports. From a playing perspective, it still is. But I think now from a team-building perspective, when you look at, hey, if I have the option, let's just say, in one hand, I have the best offensive-minded head coach in the league. In the other hand, it's I have the best quarterback in the league. Which one would you rather have? I'm taking the best offensive-minded head coach every time. Because now I don't need an elite quarterback. I can win with less. If that quarterback, God forbid, gets hurt, I could still win games. My season is not ruined. Look at the Jets, for example. Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays into the season. Why is it that the Colts, the Browns, and the Vikings all have missed their quarterback for large stretches of time, yet they're in the playoffs, but the Jets are scraping the bottom of the barrel and are one of the worst teams in their conference and one of the worst teams in the league? Despite things being equal, your quarterback's out for the rest of the year. The reason is coaching. Robert Saleh has not gotten a grip on this team, but also Nathaniel Hackett is an awful play caller, an awful offensive mind. So it doesn't matter if it's Zach Wilson, if it's Trevor Siemian, if it's Tim Boyle. It doesn't matter. That offense doesn't have a chance because they are being led by incompetence. And that incompetence, like we've been seeing, is too much to overcome when it comes from the coaching perspective. Look at Trevor Lawrence. Another example. Number 1 overall pick in the draft. Being talked about in the likes of Andrew Luck, John Elway. Can't miss. Sure thing. The Jaguars got themselves a superstar. Well, in year number 1, Trevor Lawrence would look like Bryce Young's looking now. Awful. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Why? Urban Meyer. Trevor couldn't escape the stench of Urban. That incompetence from the head coach dragged him down. And now with Doug Peterson, the last year and a half, things looked a lot better. Trevor Lawrence has now given you reason to believe if you're a Jaguars fan. Things look a whole lot different now than they did this time, it would be 2 years ago. 2021. That's directly because of the coach. Trevor Lawrence didn't change his playing style. He didn't all of a sudden magically just get better. The coach was the change. And that's the difference. And that's why I think at this point, I think we got to really start looking more at the head coach and saying, wow, that's really, having a massive impact here. More than just the quarterback. And that's why, I go back to this, why I think if I am a member of the Chicago Bears, I am taking that number 1 overall pick that I have because of Carolina. I'm not drafting Caleb Williams. I'm trying to trade for a bona fide offensive-minded head coach. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Shane Steichen, Kevin O'Connell, Brian Daboll. I'm giving those teams a call and trying my best to lure them to Chicago. Because I think for the Bears to finally figure it out, right? They've never had a quarterback in their franchise history. For them to finally get it right and figure it out, it's not drafting Caleb Williams and expecting him to be the savior. That has never really worked in the past for any team, let alone the Bears. It's not going to work this year. But getting that right offensive-minded head coach in there first, that knows what to do with talent, that knows how to put talent in position to succeed, that if you're the Bears and you pick 4th, I don't think it matters who you get a quarterback. You got to believe, if let's just say you have Sean McVay as your head coach, that whoever he gets in the draft, you're going to feel really damn confident he's going to get the most out of that guy. Whereas if you have Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy coaching up Caleb Williams, well, I love Caleb Williams. I don't think he's having success with those two guys leading him. So I think head coach at this point has surpassed quarterback where it comes to impact on winning and importance to the team. For a while, it was quarterback 1, everything else below it. I think now quarterback's got to go down to number 2. Head coach, offensive-minded head coach, preferably. Sitting there, I think, as the most important key to winning for an NFL team, quarterback now has gone down to number 2.